Evening, traders. It's countdown is on for this big event tomorrow morning. Well, tomorrow night, sorry, in the US, and Thursday morning in Australia. Now, this is we've seen a fair bit of US still strength so far. So the sort of US still profit taking so after NFP has been pared back. Importantly, the US yields are rising. Now, when I came to work this morning early, so this is the end of Monday's session in the US, you can see that there was a pickup here in the yields, fairly sharp one actually, and dollar yen still hadn't broken above 115. Now, if you want to look at why we enter trade sometimes, the market at that time was around about 114.80. It was very hard for the dollar yen to remain underneath that level as these rates got back higher and higher. Now we're very close to that 2.64, and that, I believe that's the catalyst for more strength here. If we get above that, we can get dollar yen above 115.50. So I don't mind holding dollar yen long at the moment. I might take profit just before she speaks tomorrow, and that would be just prudent. I believe you don't really want to be mucking around too much with a Fed question and answer press conference there. So she might let loose some words that are taken as dovish or hawkish, and it's unnecessary to have that sort of risk in your portfolio. Now, the other big move today is that UK Prime Minister May has been given the green light to trigger Article 50. She may trigger it tomorrow. From what we've read here, the best timeline for her to be doing it is there's a speech tomorrow. Well, I don't know the exact time, but that could be from the looks of it. It could be opportune time for her to try and get this underway. In terms of some of the issues that are causing this selling off, you're seeing Scotland ask for that vote again within 2 years. You're also getting Sinn Féin in Northern Ireland asking for a vote on Northern Ireland quitting the UK. Now, these are nuisance and side noise. Perhaps she can be contained. The Scottish referendum can probably be warded off if they give the right sort of incentives there. If they mishandle it, though, then there'll definitely be a second Scottish referendum, which will bring us more volatility later. But it's so far away that the market won't pay attention to it straight away. It'll just be something in the back end to worry about in years' time, right? It's not something to worry about too much right now. Now, if she does trigger it, that's going to be interesting for the price action, right? I mean, I've been looking for signs of stabilization and Brexit exhaustion. These levels, I'm looking at for it to happen when she does announce it. Now, if that happens, then I believe that's the beginning of a bigger rally. But so far the price action has not been at all, giving any incentive to try and preempt it. So let's just see what happens when she does actually announce it. You might have to wait till next week, but I'll be on the outlook for tomorrow as well. In terms of biggest stories for the broader market, the US FOMC obviously is huge, and it is interesting that the euro strength has subsided. Now euro was the main way that we were looking to play against the yen, and so we're still got that trade going, but it's a little concerning that it's underperforming so much. The euro itself, I would have liked the euro to remain strong, and for euro yen to be grinding higher rather than struggling to maintain these levels. I want to give it a little bit more time, but it's got a timeline, this trade. I don't like the stalling at all, and maybe it's the Dutch elections, or but it's not really what I want to see here. I mean, it's not doing too badly. It's just you know, with dollar yen doing well, it should have been doing better, and so I'm just not happy with it at the moment. Small profit. Might be closing it though if it can't get higher, back towards that 120. Well, the fresh highs basically. I want to see fresh highs in the next European US session today. If we don't see that, then I might just take profit or it's a small loss wherever it is at, and just see what happens next. It's no need to keep too much risk into the FOMC and to the Dutch elections as well. So yeah, I mean, I haven't got too much commitment on any sort of view at the moment. I've got a fair bit of view that yen's going to weaken, right? But I haven't really pulled the trigger too much. Dollar yen is at nice levels and it could break higher, but really, you know, you're rolling the dice if you want to play before FOMC. So it's not there. And also a little bit of weakness in US stocks, struggling to resume its uptrend. Now, US stocks did go into a holding pattern for a couple of weeks. It's 4 hour. Alright, so this is really tight action at the end during December. Alright, so I had the rally after Trump won, and then it just held in a super tight range here for literally, you know, 6 weeks, and then busted higher. Now that could happen again, but so I don't know. Sideways action is a form of consolidation, a form of pullback, right? And does allow the next leg to go higher, but you know, I'm not enthused at all. Sort of like buying here, you know, you got to believe in the Trump story continuing, right? And I think at some point they're going to be asking questions about what is this stimulus package, what is this tax cuts, when is the what's the timeline here, and how much is actually going to get through. And a big test for Trump is, you know, what's going on right now with his new health plan. If that can get passed pretty, you know, easily. Then there's a US debt ceiling that's being approached very quickly. That has to be passed as well. So perhaps there could be a little bit of US political turmoil that does put some short-term pressure on the US stocks. So it's, yeah, by no means am I too enthused at all. And if that does eventuate, that's going to play across into the dollar yen. And to the euro yen as well, so you know, it might be a little trickier than the charts suggest this week. Yeah, Potter, I've never been a believer in it, but you can't fight the price action, right? So yeah, I'm happy to sell if the market wants to turn on Trump and turn on the US stocks, even the US dollar. Looking to something like buying Aussie dollar or buying Kiwi would be nice in those environments, I think. Buying gold obviously would be really good too, so bring up gold in that sort of environment, but let's not be the only ones in that trade. Gold had a nice pullback, a nice rally earlier. So yeah, say we get gold having a shoot high towards 1220 post FOMC, might be worth a little buy. Because yeah, any sort of issues around the world will be reflected first in gold. And if you expect, you know, the G20, another thing, not just US debt ceiling, but then G20, where the Secretary of Treasury from the US is speaking, if he starts to talk about currency manipulation, gold goes up. That's the only play really in that environment. So like 3 or 4 big things happening, right? It's hard to keep track of everything right now. Wish we got a little bit of a timeline from the UK as to when she's going to do that speech. But yes, we have to play with what we get. So yeah, let's have a look at some of the reports out there so far. Today I read a nice little tactical trade by Credit Suisse, which was long euro pound. Now long euro pound makes a little bit of sense while they're selling the pound on anticipation of this Article 50. I'll get out of this trade soon though. It's just right now it's almost like a freebie given to you if you you want to play a short-term trade. You've missed your entry though. You had a nice entry yesterday if you're looking at it, but it's something that I'm looking to sell, so I'm watching it pretty closely. And it was just a very strong second leg this morning on those headlines from Scotland and Ireland. Alright, so these are some of the underdog events. Headline: Scottish National Party conference this Friday. No, there was nothing in there. And we've got the US budget proposals on Thursday. Jesus. One risk of this view could be the markets that show Scottish developments to be on a slow-moving drag for the pound. So all it's talking about there is it's just so far away that it's probably going to be ignored at some point. And a greater sort of reaction might be just from the Article 50 being triggered. Dutch elections, yeah. I mean, look, this whole Turkish headlines that you're seeing definitely probably going to help Wilder. I think his name's Wilder. The anti-immigration party is got actually one of the biggest supports out there in Netherlands voting. So. Alright, so the G20 FX statement on 18th of March. Alright, so we're dealing with Friday night or Saturday? Saturday or Sunday? Let's have a look. Saturday, so it's going to be over the weekend, so keep that in the back of your mind if you're buying or you're selling pound. Sorry, selling euro actually. So this is more risk to the top side if they say something. Their view is that euro pound is quite expensive near 90, but we'll probably retest that region if French elections pass without trouble. Okay.
Be more places to call home where the city meets the sky. This golden tower aims to set a new benchmark for luxury living combined with high-end retail.
It is an exciting design for our city. It's all part of us emerging as a new world city.
So they're talking about Brisbane here. Sorry, this was just a preloaded page. I didn't know it was going to have a video on it. So there's been a little bit of concern from the RBA coming out about bank lending standards in Australia, because we have a really big housing bubble here that, you know, it's driven by under supply in housing stock, but certain areas are getting a lot of apartments built. One of those areas is Brisbane.
Aria Property Group plans to transform 155 Edward Street with 82 stories, including 642 residential units, 380 car parks, generating 950 jobs during construction at a cost of $270 million. It's the third high-rise approved with the maximum height limit of 274 metres. The Sky Tower and 300 George Street are due to be finished by 2018. 240 Margaret Street is still being considered. The council estimates there could be a staggering 50 new towers in Brisbane over the next 20 years. But current rental demand is low.
There's going to be too many apartments, not enough renters, and ultimately it's going to be harder for the people that buy these for an investment purpose to actually rent out those properties.
Many developers...
Yeah, we've got that's the same thing happened in Melbourne as well. Yeah, we're talking about local politics here, local supply and demand of housing. But Sydney is one of the most expensive cities in the world. It's literally in the top 5. So, you know, we haven't got too big an issue here. Alright, ECB's last week signalled the beginning of the end for ever expanding monetary accommodation. This theme has further thrown. Yeah, this is actually, yeah, this is the way I should actually quote it. The beginning of the end. Now, you know, the market's slowly starting to turn with the Eurozone. That's what's going to give it so much support in coming months and years. Alright, so this has got a little model that they try and sort of forecast with their model, you know, where things are going to begin, move. They're actually bullish on both the euro and the yen, so that doesn't help us much. It's not really what we want to see. A little bit more. We read Greg Gibbs a bit. Now he's a pretty good analyst and a very good analyst. Sorry, what I'm saying. Now he's put his little thoughts out what Yellen's going to come across as. Now there is some risk that there is an increase in the dot points to 4 rate hikes this year. Now that's the most dangerous, you know, sort of risk on Wednesday night, and that would really get the US dollar bulls roaring. The markets fully hasn't priced in 3 yet though, right? Yeah, I think there will be reason alone this year, sometime this year, there'll be reason for the Fed to put the brakes on. Now, we haven't got it yet, but I suspect that will happen though. So I'm not in the 4 camp, and I I think 3 is even a stretch, right? I do think there will be some turbulence, that's for sure. Probably political in the US will be the main cause of it. Alright, and just we're looking for those dates. Okay, so the 16th of March was one that was spouted about early. Alright, so there's been a bit of a change in the timing. Perhaps it will be later in the month. Alright, so if this week's been delayed, then next week's off the table. March 23rd to 27th to 30th. Oh, look, I still think it's possible this month it's going to be this week, right? But these guys, yeah, look, they're looking for it to be back. Let's see where that came from. Gonna get Potter to have already that. He's probably got a subscription to the Times. Yeah, I think it's crazy not to be looking around here for the big recovery trade, guys. I know I talk about it a lot, but I still think it's a trade of the year. Waiting for the pound to turn, waiting for some big impulsive rallies, then getting involved in that, and trying to hold for 130 at least, maybe 135. Alright, other than that, I mean, it is going to be pretty quiet until we get the Fed. I think today will be even less aggressive than yesterday. The big action that we've seen on the pound might be the main moves that we get today. Slow grinding up in the dollar yen is possible, but don't expect big moves until we do get that announcement from Yellen tomorrow night in the US. I would I'll be looking to lighten up your positioning as well, just for the next couple of days, because it could be pretty wild. But look, if the Article 50 is off the we might get confirmation of that. If Article 50 is not going to be triggered this week, then perhaps the pound volatility is not going to be there. If it is delayed as well, that's probably going to open the door for the pound to retest 120. That would then give the opportunity for it to break and retest the flash crash lows. So that will make the timing of any sort of pound buying, tactical or not, to be delayed. And so you have to put that in the back of your mind as well. Just sit on your hands basically if you're waiting to buy the pound, I think. Alright guys, trade safe. I'll be back tomorrow 9 GMT. We're going to look more into the FOMC tomorrow. There's literally every bank has written a report on it, so I'll try and pick the best ones out there, the ones with the most insight. Unfortunately, majority of them are saying that it's going to be quite a balanced affair, where they don't expect too much. But in terms of if you're going to be watching it, I'll show you what to be looking out for. Certain words. Alright guys, trade safe. We'll be back tomorrow.